Good afternoon, Year 3. It's Miss Hendy here. I hope you are all well. This term, half term, we are moving our topic in geography onto rivers. Okay, so today we're going to be mainly focusing on the river's source and also a little bit where it ends up as well. So what I'd like you to do, please, is to press pause, write today's title and short date, short date first, please, and then the width. And then I'd like you to have a go at looking at this image here, this photograph. What do you see? What do you think? And what do you wonder? Have a go. Okay, so today, your tasks. Bronze, you are going to be locating the River Tamar on a map, and you might have a map at home, but if you don't, that's okay because I'm going to teach you how to use Google Maps today to find it. And I'd like you to find the source of the river, and that's quite tricky, so looking for the nearest place to it, and then where it meets the sea. And I'd like you to draw the river and add the information onto it. And then silver, you're going to do the same as bronze, but I'd also like you to see if you can challenge yourself by identifying any cities and towns that the river runs through. So the River Tamar, we know straight away, goes past Tor Point and Plymouth. So, and any others that you can add to your drawing of your river. And then gold, you're going to do the same as bronze and silver, but then you're going to add tributaries onto there as well. And tributaries, that's a tricky word, are like small streams that join the river. So can you identify any of those? And then challenge is to research the River Tamar and add any facts to your image. So our quick total recall for today, you can write these down and you can tick them in purple pen. So the first one is, what's the capital city of England, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales? Your second question is the Tamar Bridge a physical feature or a human feature? And finally, in which year did the Romans successfully invade Britain? Okay, and are we ready for the answers? So what's the capital city of England? Remember, you can tick these in purple pen if you got them right. If you didn't get them right, that's okay. Just correct it with your purple pen. So what's the capital city of England? That is London. What's the capital city of Northern Ireland? It's Belfast. What's the capital city of Scotland? Edinburgh. And what's the capital city of Wales? It's Cardiff. Let's give them a tick if you got them right, or just edit them if you need to. Now, is the Tamar Bridge a physical feature or a human feature? It is a human feature because us humans, not me in particular, but humans built the bridge, okay? It's not something that is naturally there. And in which year did the Romans successfully invade Britain? Well, they successfully invaded Britain in AD 43. Today's learning powers, we are focusing on resourcefulness because we're going to be using Google Maps to find our answer. And if you have an atlas or a coaster map at home, that might help you. But I think to be able to really zoom in, Google Maps is going to be the most useful resource today. And then imitation, we're going to imitate the way, you're going to imitate the way I use Google Maps to help you locate the River Tamar. So I'm going to be finding the River Dart and showing you how I do that. And then you're going to do the same for the River Tamar. So these are key vocabulary. I'm just going to read them out for you for now. We're going to be exploring the vocabulary throughout the lesson today. So we have river, source, sea, tributaries, mouth, and maps. I'm going to show you a video now, and I want you to really focus on what the water is doing. What do you notice about the water as it trickles down the hill? And it's not a hill, it's a rock in my garden, but I want you to imagine it's a huge hill and it's water like a river trickling down. So what does that water replicate? What do you notice about some of the water as it lands on the hill? Does it all trickle down? Have a look at the water trickling down. Do you notice how some of them come together? So we're going to have a little watch now, and then and I want you to think about those questions as we do. Here we go. Okay, so as the water flows down our hill, you will notice, if it just presses pause for a moment, um, you will notice it will start to trickle down the hill. So just think to yourself, why is it going downhill? And if I pour it down this side here, what do you notice about the water? Can you notice little bits coming off? And how they, this one here will now find its way back towards the river. And what do you think the water pouring down on top of the hill replicates? What do you think that could be? Can you see how some of them have actually separated and then the trickles bring them back together? As we come towards the end of the hill, they've actually become more one block. Okay, so what you have seen is just like rain falling on high ground. So for example, a mountain or moorland. The water will begin to flow downwards in trickles that join with others to form larger streams, always finding the fastest route downwards. Okay, so the water will always look for the fastest way to get down. Rushing water is powerful because it can cut a pathway through sand, soil, and over time it can even break through rocks or cut through rock. And as the slope becomes more gradual, the river widens, okay? So it's still flowing, it's always flowing downhill until it eventually reaches the sea. And you'll learn more about why things fall downhill and flow downhill and why things drop as you let them go when you learn about gravity in Year 5. So we're going to watch this quick video to demonstrate how a river is formed. Now, I'd really like you to focus on how the river is formed and also where does it usually end up, okay? The rest of the information is going to be really useful for next week's lesson, but the two things I really want you to focus on for this lesson is where it's formed and where it ends up.
I'm in Sweden, following the route of a river that flows across the country and out to the sea. I'm starting from the beginning of the river, which we call the source, here in the mountains. Rivers often start in upland areas like this, from lakes, marshes and glaciers, or even springs that bubble out of the ground. A river has a channel with banks on both sides and a bed. Around the main channel of the river is the floodplain, where the river expands when it floods. Rivers always flow downhill because of gravity, going where there is the least resistance, so they meander or move around obstacles like large rocks and hills. Over time, they erode or wear away soil and rock to create canyons and gorges. My kayak is being pushed along by the water as it gradually flows downhill. The water looks quite flat here, but in other places it can be much steeper, like waterfalls! Rivers like the Amazon and Nile are nearly 7,000 kilometers long and can be several kilometers wide in some places. Some rivers flow into lakes or other larger rivers. Finally, I've reached the mouth of the river, which in this case flows out to the sea. I think I'm going to need a bigger boat.
Okay, so we've learned that the river always starts at the source, okay, so on the mountains in the moorland, and that's the source is where the river begins, and the mouth, which is where the river ends, normally, most of the time ends at the sea, and there's lots of cities and places that have the word mouth at the end of them, and that's because they were named after the river, and it's at the river's end. So like Plymouth is spelled with mouth at the end because it's where the river Plym ends. And we also will look at River Dart today, so that's where that will be the River Dartmouth. So rivers usually begin in upland areas. So when rain falls on high ground and begins to flow downhill, they always flow downhill because of gravity. So we're going to have a look at a river on the map, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to model how I'm going to do that with the River Dart, and I want to know where the source is and the mouth, and those are the two things I need to do to achieve bronze today. And then to achieve silver, I need to look at any cities and towns, and I also to then achieve gold, I'm going to look at some tributaries and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to press pause a second. Okay, so I would like you to go to Google, and then into Google I'd like to write Google Maps. And then you're going to click on the top option that says maps.google.co.uk. At the top here you can see you've got the river search Google Maps. So I'm going to search for the River Dart. Okay, it's going to take me to the River Dart. Where is it on the map? Oh. Where is the River Dart on here? Okay, so water on a map is usually represented by the colour blue. And because I'm looking for a river, I'm going to look for a long blue line, which I found here. Now, normally it comes up with a little red marker to show you where the river is. So if it doesn't do that, look for that blue long line of water, and it will get wider as it approaches the sea. So what I'm going to do is zoom in a little bit, and I have the River Dart here. Now it's going to take me a little while. What I'm going to do, because this is the mouth of the River Dart, and as you can see it comes out by Dartmouth. Okay, so when I draw my map in a minute, I'm going to name Dartmouth as where it meets the sea, and we're going to follow our river up into the mainland all the way along, and it's going to take me a little while to do this because actually rivers can go on for quite a long time until we find the source of the River Dart. Okay, I've jumped a little bit because the River Dart splits into two. So I'm going to keep following it, and it will take you a little while with the River Tamar. You're going to click and drag until you keep seeing the River Dart. And you can see the river's getting thinner. This is indicating that soon we should have the source to our river. Now, you may need to zoom out a little bit just to see where you are. Now, with this one, it's quite tricky because I'm going to keep zooming out, and the reason why the River Dart is a tricky place to locate, and I think the River Tamar is a little bit easier, is because it's actually on Dartmoor is where the River Dart begins. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you on the visualizer how I'd like you to present that in your book. So here is my geography teacher for today, and that was quite a challenge. That's going to take you a little while, so you may find that you might not get onto the drawing task today, and that's absolutely fine. But what I'd like you to try and do is at least name the source and the mouth to the river. So what you can do is, it doesn't have to be very artistic, it's not Miss Henley's strong point, so I'm just going to draw. It's going to start off really thin, just this kind of river down my page. And I know my River Dart doesn't look exactly like that, but that's not what we're looking for today. We're looking more to label it. Okay, and just as we get a little bit wider, and then I'll colour this all in blue, nice and neatly, in just a moment. Okay, so I'm then, with my pencil, going to label the source. So this is where it begins, and I'm going to put source. And we know it's on Dartmoor, although it's very tricky to find. Okay, so that's the source of our river. And we notice that the mouth to the river, so where the river ends, I'm going to put mouth down here, is Dartmouth. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking for today. And then that will be achieving bronze. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press pause. I'm going to come back to my map. I'm just going to search it again, just so I can get to the main part of the river. And I'm going to look at some of the towns it goes past and goes through. So we've got Stoke Gabriel, we've got Totnes. Okay, so I can name a few of these towns. So I'm going to go back to my learning, and I'm just going to maybe write the towns and cities. You might want to label them on your map. Towns and cities, and I'm going to write Stoke Gabriel. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I think I am. Totnes, Okay. I don't know, that was two S's or one S actually. Not sure. Let's have a little look. Oh, it's one S. There we go. And that's okay. So Stoke Gabled, Totnes, and any other towns and cities that it goes through. So for the River Tamar, I've already given you two examples of Torpoint and Plymouth, and that is to achieve silver. Now, for gold, I'd like to look at some of the tributaries. So these are smaller streams and rivers that join on to your river. So what will join on to the River Tamar. I know my pencil is really light and I'm really sorry, but I've left my pencil case at home, I'm at school, sorry. So I've not got a darker pencil with me. Okay, and to do this, to find the tributaries to achieve gold today, you're going to have to zoom right in. Or I went a bit. Oh, there's like a little pool area. I might put Mill Pool on there. I'm happy with that. But I want the name of some of the rivers. I wonder if I can get in close enough. Some of them won't actually have names, okay, and that's absolutely fine. You could just draw those ones on, actually. That would be really nice. I wonder if we've got a name for this one over here. It's quite a wide bit of river, water. No. Okay, with a lot of searching, I managed to find a tributary that comes onto the River Dart, and it's called the Mill Tail. So, if I go back to my learning, I'm going to put Mill Tail. Now, if you can't find the names because perhaps the streams are too small, that's absolutely fine, but perhaps you can draw some onto your, like the one that was closer, we could draw it on to our river, try to maybe copy the shape of it from the Google Maps, okay, to show some tributaries as well. And that is your task for today. Hang on just 1 second, sorry. Get this up again. So that's your task for today. So bronze, you're going to locate the River Tamar on a map, find the source of the river and where it meets the sea, and draw the river and add that information on. Silver, you're going to try and identify as many cities and towns. I wonder how many the River Tamar goes through. And gold is actually a real challenge today to try and identify any tributaries. So they're the small streams that join the river. Perhaps draw some on and then maybe see if you can name at least one or two of those. I know a couple that do join on to the River Tamar, so it will be much easier with the River Tamar. And then, if you want to go into Google and find any facts about the River Tamar, you might be able to find out its length, what it's used for, anything like that to add to your river. And that's it for today. The main focus is the river source, looking at where it begins and understanding that all rivers begin somewhere, and that is called the source. Thank you very much, Year 3. You take care. Bye.